What's up, everybody? I'm Flash. This is One Man's Opinion, the show where we cover just about everything, and today we got another epic rap battle coming at you. Today, it's Frederick Douglass versus Thomas Jefferson. Jefferson's one of my all-time favorite presidents. I like Jefferson a lot. So, we're going to get into this one. If you guys want to support the channel, don't forget you can always hit the join button. You can join up on the Patreon. You can always one-time donate to the CashApp. Helps out a lot. Still working on getting my laptop fixed, so anything like that would be greatly appreciated, more than you know. Let's get right into this one. Gotta love the drum beat, the flute, gives you that real old school Revolutionary War kind of vibes to it.
Frederick Douglass! When in the course of human events, it becomes necessary for a commands that complow. I hit them with the illness of my quill. I'm endowed with certain unalienable skills.
You gotta love the references to the Declaration of Independence. You gotta love all these references, man. I also really love just the beat, his flow, the rhyme scheme. I like all of this a lot. Just the way that he's going about it's really, really dope. It's really cool to see Thomas Jefferson laying down a rap and using the Declaration of Independence to kind of start it out. That's really cool.
It becomes necessary for a battle to commence that complow. I hit them with the illness of my quill. I'm endowed with certain unalienable skills.
That's a really heavy bar right there. It's really awesome, man. I hit him with the illness of my quill. I'm endowed with certain unalienable skills. Really great flip on the Declaration.
Let me run down my resume, will you?
Okay.
Set up a little place called the United States. Sound familiar? I told King George he could eat a fat dick. When it comes to declarations, I'm the first trap pig.
Hey, man, these are some flexes. Now, you talking about a flex, man. I set up a place called the US of A. Sound familiar? Dude, that is so cool. And it's funny. There's a lot of comedy here with the King George bars and everything. He hasn't took a swing at Frederick yet. Man, I made mention in my last epic rap battle breakdown at the end, if you stayed for the whole thing, that this wasn't one of my favorite battles, and that's part of the reason why. We'll get into it a little bit more as we go, but the historical references here are really, really tight. I like it a lot.
Fat dick. When it comes to declarations, I'm the first trap pig. I topple any tyrant, so kings and pirates beware. I'm so down with revolutions, I invented the swivel chair.
Woo! I'm so down with revolutions, I invented the swivel chair. Are you kidding me? That's awesome. That's what I'm saying. The flexes are on point. The historical references are so good. But he has yet to take a swing at Frederick. And that's a little bit of a problem for Thomas Jefferson's game plan here.
Many volumes on my shelves, it's true. But I've yet to read the 3 books you wrote about. You looking like a
there it
soldier
is.
in a 3-piece suit.
Yeah.
Come back from Paris to battle Pepe Le Pew.
Woo!
Secretary of State, VP number 2. Not to mention third president. The fuck you do?
That's pretty hard, man. I ain't gonna lie. He did dig into him a little bit. He got into him a little bit. He wrote 3 books about yourself, you know. Then he runs down his resume again. He hits those high points. He's Secretary of State, VP number 2, not to mention third president. You know, what'd you do? Yeah, it's a really, really great opening verse for Jefferson. Let's see what Frederick's got in mind. Is that JB? That's JB Smooth, isn't it?
You finished? Okay.
Okay.
Straight out of bondage. A friendly motherfucker here to diss you.
Okay.
Big hair, big nuts, big issues.
Okay, you gotta love the flip on Straight Outta Compton coming in right here. That's really, really good, and it kind of a really great comparison. You know, both of these guys come in reference heavy, with Jefferson making a play off the Declaration, and now Frederick coming in making a play off of Straight Outta Compton. That's really good.
Starting with your nickel. There's a real declaration. Aspirations tell the slave plantation.
The slave plantation bar is hard. I don't like Jefferson being labeled as a racist. And I don't know if this is a good spot to go into it yet. I'll wait because I know that there's a lot more of that coming. I don't like it. And then somebody screaming at the computer, he owned slaves, how could he not be a racist? We'll talk a little bit more about it. Let's keep going with the battle a little bit.
like Monticello Marshmallow.
That's pretty fun.
People sweat while you sat playing cello. Hello, but now you're facing me, Freddie D. I never worked for your ass, but I kick it for free. Oh.
That's pretty good. I mean, the whole thing, playing cello while his people sweat, you know, they're working in the fields, and now he says, I never worked for you, but I kick your butt for free. You know, like, that's all really, really good stuff. And kick it for free is actually like a really, really strong bar with a good double right there, because I'll kick it for free, but I'll also kick it because he's free. Frederick Douglass is a free man. And so, like, there's a little bit, he's saying, I never worked for you, but I'll kick your butt for free. And it's kind of like the double entendre, because he is also free, but he's also doing it without pay. Slaves weren't paid. So, like, it's really layered right there.
Oh, your stone face on Rushmore ain't nothing. Check my photos. Now that's real monkey. The face of a free man. Don't compromise. You couldn't whip a flip for me, man.
That's super, Three-Fifths Compromise reference right there. That's super hard. Frederick's really coming at him hard, and I love everything that Frederick is doing. And we haven't even gotten to the part of the battle that I don't like yet. I think Frederick is coming out really, really strong, and he's attacking Jefferson where it hurts. And that's, you know, for me, I think Frederick is winning. As much as I love the references and the punches, well, the few punches that he threw, but also like the bragging and the self-boasting, the things that Jefferson has to brag about are humongous, like monumental brags that anybody can give. But Frederick's coming out with much better punches here.
The self-evident truth of your own. You let freedom ring, but never picked up the phone.
You let freedom ring, but never picked up the phone. Self-evident. What do you say right there? We hold these truths to be self-evident. That's the reference here.
You let freedom ring, but never picked up the phone.
Here's where we're going to get into it a little bit, and I'll explain my position on this a little further.
Frederick, I've never heard a verse I Douglass. All right, I admit it, I confess.
First of all, great flip on Frederick Douglass' name. Oh, Frederick, I never heard a verse I Douglass. That's really good. Here's where the battle loses me right here.
In a broken system that I hated, but I needed to keep my financial status situated, and the words I used were hideous blot to describe the slave trade and the pain it hath brought. Okay,
these are all historical facts. Where this battle loses me is that Jefferson is no longer in a rap battle. He's playing complete defense here. He's apologetic, which you should never be apologetic in a rap battle. You've lost at that point. And I understand why they did it, and a lot of the things that are mentioned here are historically accurate, but I hate that it doesn't tell the whole story, because it paints Jefferson in like a really bad light. And I'll go into further detail a little bit later. I want to get through the rap battle. And so if you want to hang on for the history lesson at the end, I'll be happy to give it to you. And then if you're just here to hear the bars and for me to tell you who I think won and that sort of thing, you can get that too. But we'll go into it. But this is a really cool start, and then Jefferson's going to get apologetic.
All right, I admit it, I confess, I participated in a broken system that I hated, but I needed to keep my financial status situated, and the words I used were hideous blot to describe the slave trade and the pain it hath brought, and I fought to stop the trade of new slaves in Virginia when I ran the whole state and still made it home for dinner. So forgive me, I was busy, man, I had a lot to do, but we did it. You're free now, so we cool?
And that's all true. Like, Jefferson fought really hard against the slave trade, and he didn't like slavery. He hated it, famously. Which is why I hate that he's so apologetic here, because he should have just kept attacking Douglass. They should have made this one 3 rounds, really. They should have had time for Jefferson to rebut all of Frederick Douglass's racist claims, because again, I don't believe that Jefferson was a racist. But instead of him rebutting and attacking, he's just apologetic through the whole thing, and he's trying to like explain himself. And of course, Frederick's not going to let him off the hook for that, which he shouldn't.
Louisiana, man, I ain't buying it. You talk about
Louisiana Purchase.
Freedom, but you ain't applying shit. So no, we ain't cool. You found an absentee father. You had 6 babies with the slave mama, and never even bothered to free you when you died on the 4th of July. See,
this is again, it's true, but it's so cherry-picked history that it's ridiculous. And I think I've got to get into a little bit of it here. So,
man, I had a lot to do, but we did it. You're free Hey now, so we cool?
This ain't Louisiana, man. I ain't buying it. You talk about freedom, but you ain't applying shit. So no, we ain't cool. You found an absentee father. Man, you had 6 babies with the slave mama and never even bought.
That's facts. 6 babies. 2 of them died. Only 4 of those babies survived. 2 of them left the plantation. The last 2, and he's going to talk about it right here.
To free you when you died on the 4th of July.
You never bothered to free her when you died on the 4th of July. That's because he freed the children that Frederick is talking about here. He actually freed the 2 children that were left on the plantation after he died. And no, he didn't free his baby mama. Hemming, I think was her last name. Sally Hemming, I think is her name, if I remember correctly. No, he didn't free her, but she was freed by Jefferson's sister, I'm pretty sure really quickly after he passed away. The thing you have to know about Jefferson is that he was in a lot of debt. And that's what he's talking about earlier. He says, I had to keep my financial status situated because he was he died with a lot of debt. And so he couldn't free his slaves. What you got to understand, and look, it was wrong. Everyone knows slavery was completely wrong. But Jefferson hated slavery. The problem was he was part of a system. He was in a system that was not unique to the United States. I don't care what anybody tells you. The United States was way ahead of the curve on trying to free slaves and trying to set up a complete free country. And that's why the Constitution is written the way it was. People look at it now and say, oh, what a bunch of hypocrites. They said, every man has the right to freedom and the pursuit of happiness, life, love, and liberty. They wrote that in the Constitution, but they didn't mean it because black people were slaves. No, they wrote that in the Constitution because they knew one day through that slaves would be freed. They were actively trying to make it happen, but the world as a whole didn't work that way. The world as a whole saw slaves as property. So when Jefferson died with a lot of debt, to pay off that debt, his slaves were taken. He only had enough. He was so bad in debt that I'm pretty sure he could only free 5 slaves. The rest had to be taken to pay off his debt. And 2 of those were the children of Hemming, and Sally was freed shortly after his passing by Jefferson's sister. So, it is all true what he's saying. He did have 6 babies. 2 of them died. 2 of them left the plantation. And then 2 of them were freed on his death. The youngest 2 that were still there. They weren't old enough to go off on their own yet. So, he took care of the kids, which is what Sally would have wanted anyway. She would have wanted her children taken care of before her. And I'm not sure why exactly she wasn't freed on his death. But she was freed shortly thereafter by his sister. So, you have to understand that the time period, the time frame that they were living in. There was literally nothing that one man could do about the state. And you got to think the United States wasn't a powerhouse yet. They had the Revolutionary War. They were just getting started as a country. They didn't have the means, the supplies, the capital to make that kind of impact on the world yet. To stop slavery. They couldn't do it yet. And so it's really cherry-picked history. And that's what I don't like about it. But more than that, I don't like how apologetic Jefferson is. Because the cherry-picked history that Douglass uses in this rap can be easily rebutted with actual facts from Jefferson, but he never really gets the chance to do so.
It's a very important holiday, but what the fuck does it mean to this guy?
Jefferson was all about individual rights, by the way. He was all about small government staying out of people's lives and letting people live the life that they wanted to live. He hated the federal government. He wanted it to be as small as possible. And that's why he's one of my favorite presidents, because even though, looking back in history, people try to do like this and cherry pick him and make him sound like he was a bad guy. They want everyone who founded this country to be an evil person. And it's just not true. Most of them were literally doing all they could up until the time that they died to try to fight slavery and other injustices across the entire planet. They just weren't able to do it. You only have so many resources when you're just starting a country. They just couldn't do it yet. So it is what it is.
Cause I celebrate December 6th, 1865.
As he should.
The 13th damn amendment was ratified. And I cease to be an alien to your unalienable rights. And we the people stop meaning we the people who are right.
It never did. That's why it was written that way. It never did. It never meant that. But they knew that they couldn't get it done in their lifetime. So they had to set up the Constitution in a way that would justify freeing the slaves in the future.
Things, I ain't denying your fame. Just saying they need to put an asterisk next to your name.
No, they don't. No, they don't. Frederick Douglass won, by the way. He absolutely won. He dominated Jefferson in this rap battle, and a lot of his punches were completely valid. I'm not trying to take away from anything that Douglass said, because a lot of them were really good, and that's what you want to do in a rap battle anyway. You want to set your opponent up to look like the villain, the bad guy, the loser, and that way, you know, you look triumphant at the end. He absolutely did his job. And that's why it's so difficult for me, because as a rap battle, Douglass did awesome. He's the winner of the rap battle. He absolutely deserves it, and he did everything that he should do in the rap battle to win it. I just hate that people see this and they think that all those things are true, and they don't get the full historical background. There's a lot of context to history that we don't get. So somebody says, oh, this happened. And yeah, that did happen, but why did it happen? We never asked those questions. We're just like, oh, it happened, so he must be a bad person. He must have been an evil person. When in fact, dude was doing all he could, like legitimately was doing all he could. But I'm sorry, I took a lot of time because I know I got off on the historical rant. And I said I wouldn't do it, but I had to do it. I had to address it. So I'm sorry if you were just here for the raps and stuff like that. I apologize. But I feel like it's necessary because it's all part of the historical fact. It's all part of what went down and how it went down. So let me know in the comments below what you guys thought. Douglass with the victory. Well-earned, well-deserved victory there for Frederick Douglass. I just wish that the battle had been set up and written in a different way so that it didn't seem like such a one-sided stomp by the end of it. Because there were other things Jefferson absolutely could have rebutted, and he could have continued to attack, but he didn't. He was written in a way toward the end of the battle that made him very, very apologetic. You could tell that they were hesitant to attack Douglass much, and so they used the first round as, you know, we'll just have Jefferson brag on himself a lot and then kind of attack Douglass at the end. And then after Douglass attacks him, we'll just put him on defense the whole time. And it seems like a cop-out to me. It sucks because, like I said, Jefferson's maybe my favorite president of all time. And so I hate to see him used in that fashion. I don't feel like he got a chance to really fight. So that kind of sucks. Douglass did well. Hope you guys enjoyed the battle. Let me hear in the comments below what you guys think. Let me know in the comments which one you want to see next, by the way. Thanks.